This is the story of a girl, but it is not a story about the girl. Who she is, what she wants, why she acts the way she does, these do not matter. Only the people she has known are relevant to this story. That is how she is defined. She is a vessel, a transport, a liaison. It is her blessing and her curse to simply tell the stories of others. The girl meets the boy when she is 16, a typical age for a typical meeting. They share the same job that summer, and they begin to talk when they aren't otherwise occupied. His mind understands numbers, not words, and he thinks in assumptions that she is all too happy to correct. He needs a purpose in everything he does, but cannot make plans to save his life. He tells her stories of his childhood with his grandfather in Bulgaria, and together they long for simpler times, though they are still almost children themselves. Eventually, they begin to write letters, old-fashioned pen pals to the end. They talk about the important things, like change and religion and whether or not to forgive their mothers. But they talk of not-so-important things too, like clothes and cartoons and schoolwork. She teaches him about girls, and he teaches her about boys, and they both try to convince each other that neither fits their preconceived misperceptions. It is somewhere in the late-night reading and drafting of these carefully crafted words that she falls in love with him. She is amazed by how similar they are. Their parents have given them both mispronounced names, hers with an A, not an E, and his with a Y instead of an I. They share stolen quotations and the capacity to put things off for far too long. They traverse their dreams together, dreams of speaking the world's languages. He introduces her to music not from the theater, and she finds that she likes it. When the summer is over, they return to their lives but keep on writing. They see each other only occasionally, and she forgets if his eyes are green or blue. They take swing dancing lessons together, even though he is afraid of dancing, because she thinks that she can cure him. She is addicted to his letters now, cannot live without them, but their friendship is confined to writing. In person, they are not so good at communicating. The jitters get the best of her every time, and she loses her ability to talk. She is afraid he will notice that she loves him, so she holds back. She is fearful of losing the boy who has, unspoken, become her best friend. She's never quite sure what goes wrong in the end. Perhaps she holds back a little too much. He changes, almost overnight it seems, and begins to talk in philosophy and psychology, things she doesn't yet understand. He grows up a little too fast for her, leaving her in the dust, and she doesn't know how to react. There is one last letter from him, and then it's all over. The pretense of intimacy lingers, but nothing is ever really the same again. The girl meets the dreamer that spring. He works at a grocery store, and that is where she asks him to prom on a whim. Somehow, inexplicably, it works, and she finds herself falling in love. He talks in fantasies that seem so unimpossible, and even she, the great skeptic, begins to believe they could come true. He writes stories for children, stories filled with adventure and magic and utterly ridiculous characters. She feels privileged to understand him when he talks, for his speeches are filled with esoteric references. Loving him makes her wonder what late-night conversations must have been like for the wife of Dr. Seuss. The dreamer is the high school romance she has always longed for. He calls her darling and sweetie and brings her roses on their anniversary. She loves him far too much, with his dramatic airs and gestures, his gentle voice and bashful smiles. She wants the sticky sweet taste of mint gum and coffee, the scent of roses, the sight of blood-stained pillows and a smoke-stained cat for the rest of her life. They make elaborate plans to run away together, plans that are only half pretend. But they always have an element of a tragedy, a lighter telling of Romeo and Juliet, perhaps. Every story, every song about struggle is written for them. They lament over their situation, and when the time comes that they are forced apart by fate and distance, the girl cannot count the tearful letters about how much she misses him. She can only return to him infrequently, and each time makes leaving him again harder than the last. He asks her once why she cries with such heartbreaking force, even when they are together. "I'm so afraid of what will happen to me if I lose you," she tells him. But in the end, her fears do not matter. Time weakens them. She has to fight too hard to keep him, and the effort is too exhausting. He too grows weary of loving someone so far away, and his eyes begin to lose the light that once held her captivated. The dreamer stops dreaming, and she cannot bear to stay and watch. There is an overlap between the dreamer and the poet. The first night they meet, her hair is short. They talk about perfection and magic and truth, and he asks her where her favorite place is. She tells him of Ostia, in Italy, where the grass is green and warm and the stone buildings lie in ruins. They stand in the cold and speak in poetry. She watches him shiver and hears him smile. He is her secret. She is convinced for a while that he is a guardian angel, fallen to earth to show her some hidden truth, because she doesn't understand how someone so wise could possibly be human. He teaches her to walk on glass, and they make a pact to never trust each other. One of them breaks it first, but she isn't sure who. She goes looking for the poet more often than she should, every night at the same time when the wind calms. But there are no goodbyes and no hellos in their story, only meetings and leavings. His glasses are taped and his hair is long, and he tells her that he is as old as the earth. He thinks too much and talks too little, and only seems to exist at night. She asks him what he wants, and he says he wants nothing. He writes of searching for his heart, a useless, imperfect heart that he threw away long ago, but he takes many long months to find it. He is the first person to tell her she is arrogant, and maybe he's right. He tells her that, at 18, she's still just a girl. She asks him once what he sees when he looks at her. Wide eyes, he replies. Big, black, deep pupils. Everything and nothing. He tastes like cigarettes and smells like rain and incense, and he likes to tell her about the turtles in his hometown. He's sweet in his strange, barefoot poet way. He apologizes for disturbing her and doesn't want her to be too cold. He cleans his teeth so he doesn't taste like smoke. He makes her eggs and gives her orange juice when she asks. He takes her to new places sometimes, but mostly the same old place, and she's content for a while. He writes poems about her and sings songs with her name. He loves her, but being with him is painful for her. He makes her feel dirty, and she cannot stand dirt. They do not talk, but he makes her head overflow with words, and it scares her. She is not in the habit of breaking hearts, but it happens sometimes. When he disappears, she fills his place with friends who want to sleep with her, because she can't bear to sleep alone anymore. Soon her hair is long again, and she wonders where he's gone. She knows she has lost him, but it does not pain her. She does not regret, but treasures the days past when she held his heart and his soul. Fleeting moments like theirs do not last, and they are not supposed to, and he has helped her to understand that. Out of all the people she has known, these are the few the girl can never forget, no matter how hard she tries at times. These are the ones she will always love, somewhere deep inside her. Of course, there are many other people she has known and loved. The people who have changed her life are uncountably infinite. She is and always has been a product of the people around her. But the boy, the dreamer, and the poet, these are the people who, for better or for worse, are simply the ones this girl knows how to write about.